Hi there. In this video, we are learning about latitude and longitude. More specifically, we are learning about minutes of latitude and longitude. Let's just take a look at a New York State map to get some context here. So here in New York State, the possible ranges of latitude, according to this map, which is taken from our eCert, is about 40 degrees, 30 minutes of latitude all the way near southern New York, all the way up to 45 degrees of latitude in the most northern part of the state. So in New York, even though it's a huge state, there's only about 5 degrees of latitude covering the whole state. So if I am looking here at the 42 degree line of latitude, which cuts across the state like this, and we will then look at the 43 degree line of latitude that cuts across up here. Notice that in between 42 and 43 degrees latitude, there's a lot of land there, right? So we use latitude and longitude in order to give the precise or exact location on Earth to say this exact spot is 43 degrees latitude, 73 degrees longitude. But sometimes we have to get a little more specific than just the degree of latitude, right? Because in between 1 degree of latitude, for example, there's about 69 miles of land. So if I'm trying to find Albany here, and someone tells me it's at 43 degree latitude, well, that's not really an accurate description because 43 degrees is up here, but Albany is actually all the way down here. So we need to break degrees of latitude or degrees of longitude up into a smaller subunit, okay? And the way that we do that is with what we call minutes. Kind of like how we have hours of the clock, right? Hours of the day. We break an hour up into 60 minutes, and then every minute is broken up into 60 seconds. It's a similar concept for degrees of latitude and degrees of longitude. In latitude and longitude, we break down 1 degree of latitude or 1 degree of longitude into a unit called a minute. Each degree of latitude and longitude is broken up into smaller units called minutes. Each degree is divided into 60 minutes. So for every 1 degree of latitude or 1 degree of longitude, that degree is further broken up into 60 minutes. This is easy for us to remember because it's just like the 60 minutes that make up an hour of our clock. Remember, when we write latitude and longitude, we might say it's 42 degrees. We include the degree sign always. Well, if we're using minutes or adding minutes to give an even more precise location, we would say 42 degrees and maybe 25 minutes. Notice the symbol for minutes is an apostrophe, okay? The symbol for minutes is an apostrophe, and then we can still write our direction, of course. 42 degrees, 25 minutes, north. Let's do a few examples of this. Here I have a grid. I'm zoomed in on a map. The map is showing a location, an area of land, in between 42 degrees north latitude and 43 degrees north latitude. In terms of longitude, I'm looking at the land in between 74 degrees west longitude and 75 degrees west longitude. I want to identify the precise coordinates, the latitude and longitude of location A and location B. Okay, so remember, every degree of latitude or degree of longitude is broken up into 60 minutes. So if I look at this map here, I'm going to start with my latitude. It looks like this grid, this piece of land, is divided into 4 equal squares. This makes it a little bit easier for me to figure out exactly what the minutes are at the locations. So if on the bottom here we have 42 degrees north, and higher up we have 43 degrees north, well, in the middle between those two locations, so smack dab in the middle here, I would have the location of 42 degrees and 30 minutes north. That's right in the middle. It's easier usually to identify that 30-minute mark. Halfway between 42 and 30 is 30 minutes, just like 30 minutes on the clock is half an hour. Once you identify the 30-minute mark, it's easier to then identify the smaller areas. So now I have 42 degrees and 0 minutes, really, right? Just like 2 o'clock would be 2 hours, 0 minutes. And in between 42 degrees and 0 minutes and 42 degrees and 30 minutes, what number would come in between 0 and 30? Think about the clock. Sometimes we say it's 5:15. It's 6:15. What time is it then? It's 5:15 or 6:15. Halfway between 0 and 30, or a quarter of the way to 60 minutes, is 15 minutes. So this location here would be 42 degrees, 15 minutes north. I have one line left on this grid for latitude to identify. It's here. What is this range of latitude? Well, again, think of your clock. Here we're thinking, what's halfway from 30 minutes to 60 minutes? Okay, remember, the new number 43 is the equivalent of 60 minutes. So what's halfway between 30 minutes and 60 minutes? Think about your clock. They might say it's 5:45, right? 5:45 is 3/4 of the way through the hour. That would be, 42 minutes and 42 degrees and 45 minutes north. Okay, so if you just think about the kind of major subunits of an hour, usually when we think in time, we think 0, 15, 30, 45, 60 minutes in an hour. And it's helpful if you can set those up when you're looking at minutes on a map for latitude and longitude. Let's do the same thing for the longitude. Here, I'm starting with 74. And notice I'm going to be working this way because my numbers increase as I move to the left because I'm in the Western Hemisphere. Be careful, that can trick students up. So I'm going to start with the middle, so halfway between 74 and 75. Half of 60 minutes is 30 minutes. 74 degrees, 30 minutes west. I'll try to fill in the other two now. Here, this line is the quarter mark, or halfway between 0 and 30. So this line would be 74 degrees and 15 minutes west. And my third mark here is 3/4 of the way, halfway between 30 and 60, 74 degrees and 45 minutes west. Now that I've added these labels, let's try to write the coordinates for point A and point B. We'll start with point A. Point A, remember when writing latitude and longitude, we write the latitude first, then the longitude. I'm looking at point A. The latitude is across. Here, my latitude is 42 degrees, 45 minutes north. And my longitude goes up and down. I'm going to go up and trace up for my longitude. Here, my longitude for point A is 74 degrees and 45 minutes west. Let's try for point B. Again, I have to write my latitude first, then my longitude. So, looking at point B, my latitude goes across. I'm going to use an orange highlighter here so we can see where I'm tracing. B, the latitude goes across, and it hits about, I don't know, it's not quite 43. It's not right on the 43 line. It's a little bit below it. So it's somewhere in between 45 minutes and 60 minutes. It's definitely closer to 60 minutes than it is to 45. So I'm going to make an educated guess here. I'm going to estimate how far it is in between 45 minutes and 60 minutes. I will say that the latitude of point B is about 42 degrees and let's say 55 minutes north. I'm saying 55 because it's right about here. It's not quite 60, but it's definitely closer to 60 than it is to 55. Now let's try the longitude. The longitude, I'm going to go up. Notice the orange mark I'm making up. For the longitude of point B, it's on the low side. It's close to 74 degrees, but not quite on the line. It's in between 74 degrees and 74 degrees 15 minutes, but it's definitely much closer to the 74 degree mark. So I'm going to say that's probably about 5 minutes. It looks to be about a third of the way between the 0 mark and the 15-minute mark. So let's say our longitude of point B is 74 degrees and 5 minutes west. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.